Hello. We just got back from the dog park, got ping pong down here, and today I would like to make a video, kind of switch it up a little bit. I know my last 80 videos or so have been about how terrible people are, and while they can be, I do think that it's really important to highlight all the good. And, I have been pleasantly surprised lately, especially with the channel and the Discord and everything that's been so much fun. But even beyond that, like in my everyday life, just the last 2 or 3 days alone, it seems like my faith in humanity has been restored at least a little bit. And so I'd like to share about that. But to kick things off, I would like to start with some analytics very, very quickly. So, just in the last 2 months since we got on YouTube, we've got 78K views, 7.2K watch time hours, 1.6K subscribers, and it just keeps going up. It says your channel has gotten 78,139 views so far. So that is wild. I never, ever, ever in a million years. I mean, I hoped that this would all take off, but I really didn't anticipate it taking off this fast. So I can't thank you enough for that. But yeah, let's get into how my faith in humanity has been restored even in the last just couple days, shall we? This is significant stuff. I've been thinking on it for a while. Ping pong's getting a drink, sounds like. So today I had a psychiatrist appointment, and first we have to start with some tea. Even though I'm actually having coffee again, it's that mommy coffee. It is. It's like a MOMMEE coffee, and it's actually for pregnant ladies, but it's half caffeine and it is low acid, organic, and like fair trade and all that good stuff. Not sponsored. I don't have any sponsorships, at least yet, so don't have to worry about that. But that's really good. I would highly recommend it. I think they sell it online. You can probably just search for it. But yeah, it's really, really good. So, but I do have some tea about the psychiatrist. So I've been trying to get one of my medications because it is a controlled substance, and looking the way that I do sometimes, I try to cover up the hand tattoos and like the chest tattoo, but I feel like sometimes they still think I'm trying to, yeah, trying to get stuff. Am I allowed to say controlled substance? I'm just talking about medication, but yeah, so I've been trying to get that, but the tea is I went to my primary care who's on military leave for a little bit longer. He's been on for the last 2 months, so I've had to see this guy. And you know how when they set you up for a psychiatrist appointment or a doctor's appointment and you get there and it's just you in a room with a computer and they're on a computer, and this guy, it was very hard for him to understand me and vice versa. I think there was a language barrier there. Um, he wasn't listening to me, but before that, my doctor before his medical leave, I brought up to his attention, because guys, it's strange, but I actually want to be alive now. And I don't really know, I've never really experienced this feeling before. I'm really not trying to make like a dark joke. I genuinely mean, like, this is just, my friends have really come through, and then I have this brand new thing that's going, and I was really happy in my relationship at the time and everything, and so I did want to just get my health good. So I brought to his attention and I said, yeah, I said I've had multiple partners now bring to my attention that I have an irregular heartbeat, and there is irregular heartbeats on both sides of my family, and one of my grandpas just got diagnosed with congestive heart failure. And so I was just kind of concerned. So I brought that to his attention. They listen to my heart every time I go in, and they always say that it, sounds fine and everything. So he gave me the referral for cardiology, and he also gave me the referral for psych. Um, So yeah, that's when I went to this guy who came up on the screen. This guy was on medical leave. There's no getting a hold of him, and he was cool. But this guy, instantly when I sat down, he was rude. Like I was asking, he was like, "Hey, how are you?" And I'm like, "Good, blah blah blah. Like, how are you?" And he just like didn't respond. And like, she doesn't like being ignored. That's ping pong. But anywho, he just didn't respond. And isn't that ironic? I was just talking about being ignored. I swear she speaks English. I swear. But yeah, I got that he was kind of judgy at the start. And so I was just trying to explain to him because he was just bringing up the concerns about getting a stimulant while you have heart stuff going on. And I'm like, yeah, I understand, but I've been on Adderall for 5 years. I've had this irregular heartbeat thing for even longer than that. Adderall is the only way I can function. You know, I get really dark thoughts if I come off of it. I get really depressed. And he argued with me and he's like, well, that's not even how it works. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, it's not an antidepressant. I'm like, I know, but you know, with people with ADHD, we need the dopamine and norepinephrine to get, those are the motivating chemicals. And so without those, you know, we're not motivated to do tasks. And then when we do tasks, we don't get the reward chemical afterwards. I see memes online and it's like the what is it? The slight sense of relief because that thing's not stressing you out anymore. But that's about the only satisfaction that ADHD people feel when they complete a task. So, of course, that makes it harder. You know, if you do need a stimulant and you don't have that, then it's harder to exercise, eat 3 meals a day, socialize. That's a huge one. Check your email, make phone calls, all these things that you need to just keep up with your physical vessel. Some of us need a little help up there, and that's okay. And I had come up with a system, me and a team of other doctors, way before this guy, this clown. And I told his nurse that, and she kind of agreed. I'll just say that. Like, I won't go into detail about everything that happened, but the nurses were on my side. And they even said a couple times later, like, we can't send this girl out without medication. What are you doing? But anywho, what bugs me is for that whole 2 hour appointment on the screen, it was 2 hours. He was saying how he's going to refill it and it's going to be at the pharmacy and all this stuff. And I wasted 2 hours with this guy. And it was like the appointment was like 7 a.m. So I had to wake up at 5:30 to go drive all the way down there. So it was a lot to go through. So of course this was frustrating. But at the appointment, everything was fine. And he was like, yeah, it'll be here. You know, he did warn me about those things. And I'm like, yeah, I appreciate your concern. You have my word. I will follow up with cardiology. And that was this one stipulation. And then I did. And so, yeah, but anywho, fast forward like 4 or 5 hours, I go to the pharmacy to pick it up after staying on that side of town, just killing time for that long. Oh, I get to the pharmacy and it's not there. And I'm like, what do you mean? I've given them so much time. So I call the doctor. Turns out he never filled it. Then they tell me, they're like, hold on, we got to get the doctor. Then they call me back and they're like, yeah, he said he doesn't want to refill it. And I'm like, I beg your pardon. And I went off. I flipped out. I did. You know, I'm like, how much do I want to share about this day? Well, I wouldn't say these were threats, but I did say that I was going down there and I was going to talk to an actual person about this. And yeah, then it got kind of sticky. He called me. He was arguing with me. I was livid. I think this was like the first day of my period. So I do feel bad for him. But let's just say my throat was scratchy after the phone call. Okay. And I was so livid and I threatened to call the cops on him. And I did. I threatened to call the cops on him. He hung up, said he wasn't prescribing it. Or sorry, I think I hung up on it. I don't know. We got off the phone. I was still driving to the doctor's office. Sorry, this is crazy behavior. But this stuff helps me function. And it's just me to advocate for myself, you guys. I don't have like a husband or a big brother or a friend to say, hey, like, what do you mean? Like, it's just me. So if I don't do this, what's the alternative? Just they're going to say no? I just can't have this thing that I need to function? And so anyways, I drove down there and I did call the cops. And I got 2 officers to show up with me at the doctor's office. And I have video footage of this. I haven't really wanted to post it because that does seem very like attention seeking to me. Like, look at me. I'm a white lady and I had to call the cops on my doctor. You know, I didn't want to be like that. So, but that really happened. And if I wouldn't have done that, I wouldn't have ever gotten them. And that's what's crazy. And everyone around was apologizing. The nurse was apologizing because this guy wasn't even at the office. I don't even know if he was in the same state. Probably not. You know, who knows where these providers, these rando providers come from? They're handling people's mental health, you guys. If they put someone on the wrong mood stabilizer or the wrong antidepressant, especially someone that is already having some disturbing thoughts, well, that can make their thoughts a lot worse. And then it's so hard to get in, and they just keep you on wait lists and stuff. So this is horrible, you guys. So I won't go on and on about that, but we really need to spread awareness about that. But anywho, that was the cops were actually really helpful. And, you know, I'm not gonna get political anymore on this channel, but you know what? It was super cool. I was really upset when I was driving to the doctor's office, and the doctor's office was technically in another county. And so the officer that I had on the phone said, I have to transfer you to another county, but just know that if I was in that county, I would personally want to come help you and talk to this doctor for you. I think that, you know, that's worth fighting for or something like that. And so I thought that was really cool. And the 2 that showed up, yeah, I just thought it was really cool of them to do that because I really don't want to be drastic, you guys, but I literally have no one else. Like, that's just supposed to prove the point. Like, what are autistic people supposed to do sometimes if we don't have family and we don't have, you know, a partner with us or friends? You know, Ping Pong, I know she would if she could. But so anyways, I finally got them, but it was horrible. And then I went back again, and he was like refusing to give them to me after they already promised that if I drove down there, they would give me that, because he only prescribed half of them and like all this stuff. Like, they're making, yeah, just so many hoops to jump through. I wanted to give up. I really did, and I was losing hope. But the psychiatrist appointment that I had today was a lady, and she was really, really nice. I could tell from the start. I was just super real with her. And it's funny, like after I got off the phone, the ending line, I was like, all right, thanks, girl. We'll see you then. Or like something like that. And it was just so comfy. And the contrast was so stark. It was it was really nice. So that restored a lot of faith in humanity. You know, she doesn't have a problem. She actually apologized like for on his behalf, and that felt so good because I knew that I was never going to get one for him, but I was upset for hours, actually days. That first appointment is what spun me into that meltdown where I had to have that, yeah, um that gentleman that is one of my friends now, but he came over, and I would never ask, you know, him to do that otherwise, but he was literally the only person I had in that situation. So anywho, it was really, really rough, but you know, she apologized for him and just said, you know, he should have known better. He should have known how much ADHD and autism, I think she used the term like the comorbidity between the two, like they do occur together a lot. And so she apologized, and she said, I'm so sorry that, you know, you were even like treated like that and not listened to. Like, that's not cool. Like, I'm going to be your provider from now on, and we got you. And that was so relieving. It was so relieving because that's my lifeline. That's my lifeline, you know, and I'm not going to let people, you know, call me a tweaker or something. My dose is so low. I keep it so low, because that stuff is serious. That is a controlled substance for a reason. It's strong, you know, and so you have to be so careful and so safe. But yeah, and I even told them like I would be interested in weaning off of it if that's what's best for me. But that's the thing, you have to wean someone off. You can't just take them off of like a psychiatric medication that they were on for 5 years. Some people just get on a power trip. I swear to God, it was some bull. That is so good. Okay. And then today, what kind of like pushed me to make this video tonight is the burger. Like I went and got a burger and I didn't quite have enough. And I thought, I caught myself being judgy. I thought, why wouldn't people help people out? If it because it was clear I didn't want it to be like this, but when I was going through, I was like, okay, how much is, just the burger? And he said, it's $6. I said, okay, can I get a small fry? And then it put it like way over what I had. And then so I said, oh, you know what? Never mind. Can I just get the burger? And I pulled up and I was being judgy. And I was like, oh, the world's so divided now. Like everyone's so dog eat dog. Like, well, I wasn't like sulking about it, but it did cross my mind because I was like, geez, I remember working like as a barista or in food service. And if I could, I would always, you know, kind of like toss someone an extra something or whatever, a cup of coffee on top of it or something if I knew they were struggling. And so I'm not trying to sound self-righteous at all. Like I'm sure most of you guys watching do that as well. I think that humans should. Like these are other humans. But anywho, because I don't know, maybe that's like an entitled mentality. Maybe you guys are going to come at me. I don't know. But I was kind of having those thoughts. I'm just confiding in you. Like I really was. I assumed the worst, right? My black and white thinking took over and I was like, nobody cares anymore and nobody, you know what I mean? Just to the extreme. That's unnecessary. And that happened again. I caught myself, I'm just outing myself. I'm like ratting on myself hard right now. But I pulled out and I reached in the bag and I felt onion rings. And I was like, oh my gosh. You guys know when you're like so hungry and like I haven't eaten any substantial meal in a couple of days now since the last burger I got. I scrounged up a few dollars for. I'm so broke right now. It's ridiculous. But my friends are coming through. I'll get into that in a little bit. But yeah, dude. So I was like, did they really mess up my order? Like, I got flashbacks of all the times that my order has been messed up. Like, even if it was like DoorDash or like a grocery delivery or something where it's really like you can't really fix it because it was a delivery. Those ones are the worst. So, anywho, I started to jump to conclusions. But then I felt my burger in there and I went, hold on. And I opened it up and it was exactly what I had ordered on the burger. And I looked in the bag and there were also fries and they gave me a large, like a huge thing of onion rings and I only paid for the burger. And I caught myself and I'm like, in that moment I was like, I gotta make a video about that because that was such a great reflection of just the human psyche, right? And just to be clear, that's not to say, my I don't know if I can put that in videos anymore, but the emotional neglect videos, yeah, it's definitely not to say that those weren't actually really bad because they were. That was not all in my head. But sometimes, in a completely different way, okay, don't be jumping to conclusions. Yeah, we can do that, right? Someone gives us a dirty look and I don't know, we assume that they just want to pick a fight or something. You know what I mean? Most of the time, they don't want to pick a fight. So, yeah, that I really caught myself, but that really just restored that faith in humanity even more. In the past couple of days, also, my friends have really come through. One friend of mine was calling food banks and stuff, trying to get me some food. The other friend of mine was trying to get me like rental assistance and sharing resources. It's just, I'm so grateful that like everyone is seeing what I'm doing and they're like, okay, that's pretty cool. We'll help you out. And so I really, really appreciate it because I will pour my heart and soul into YouTube and into this podcast because it just feels like I'm using it. You know what I mean? Like I was talking to this gentleman today when I went into the autism place about how the personality jobs, how people with a good personality get into customer service, but in reality, most of the time, those are such short interactions, whether it's like selling them a cup of coffee or fixing their this or whatever. It's such a short interaction that they don't really even get to see your personality. They might get a vibe from you, but they don't really know all the cool things about you or like what you're interested in and stuff like that. So this like job would get me the opportunity to share the knowledge that I have has all come through painful trial and error, and also just all these weird sources that I've gathered, little tidbits of information from, whether I'm talking to other autistics or working with them, or other YouTube videos are great. I can share all that stuff, and of course I'll give credit where credit is due and all that stuff. But the personality, like, this is all I could ever want. I get to share. Everybody's kind of called me like a mediator, and I think the ADHD in the mix makes me a little more social than I would be. The autism, like, I do prefer being alone, for sure, no doubt about it. But if I am like placed in a facilitating role, I found that I do thrive, because I think it's the ADHD making me so random. But like, if one person says something, it reminds me of something else. So it's just like infinite. Same thing with making videos. Like, I always got criticized for talking too much or rambling, and not giving them, a big enough gap to, because some people say they need to like gather their thoughts before they respond. So I thought I was giving a pause, but to them it wasn't a long enough pause, and I'm learning these things. But a video, I don't got to pause at all. This is my podcast. No, I think it's very important to stay humble, but this is just amazing because it's mine. I can record whenever I'm feeling called to do so. I can, if things are really nervous or nerve-wracking rather for me to speak about, I can wait a day or two before posting it. I can kind of sit on it, be like, oof, this is gonna be out there, but should I? And then, I always end up posting it because you guys have been so amazing. There will always be people that don't support it, but as we've learned, usually when people have something nasty to say, it's a reflection of themselves. We're catching up these days. We don't fall for it. But yeah, it's been really great. And therapy's been amazing. Like, where I went today to speak to that gentleman, he's really been helping me. He helped me through the diagnosis process, actually. And he was late diagnosed himself. So we actually have a lot in common. And he's the only one that I feel really listened to. And like, he actually takes my problems seriously and urgent and prioritizes them, and we just get it done, whether it's unemployment or looking for resources or looking for jobs or trying to figure out what job would fit me best. He's like, okay, take this quiz, let's do this, I sent this to your email, let's do this, let me make this phone call for you real quick, let me look up these locations, okay, this one's closer to you, let me write that down for you, here's a sticky note. This guy is incredible. He's incredible. Like, I've joked on the phone with, I think it was his boss, but she was like, okay, like, I'll set you up with blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, thanks. Also, give that guy a raise. Because, like, give my dog a raise, too. She's, all of them have been working overtime. But I'm truly, truly grateful. But therapy's been going well. But today, he actually told me that he was thinking about starting a YouTube. Well, he already had one, but he wants to get going again and see if he can make it really big. And I was just encouraging him. And he said he shared the links with me because they were very professional. Like, he's speaking about his job and his profession. And I checked him out. And yeah, just seeing him talk about it, like, he just talks about how disability is seen, because he's also disabled. So he knows. And he just treats me like a person. He treats me with respect. He treats me, he never undermines my intelligence. He helps me with these things, but he's never once made me feel like I lacked any kind of intelligence. He's never made me feel stupid for asking a question. Like, incredible. And that's the best way to support, autistic people and ADHD people. Give us lists, give us little sticky notes, make calls for us, ask that person, hey, what would be the most helpful? Can I knock anything off? What's your highest priority? Sometimes, yeah, I really have to sort through what's my highest priority, and a lot of times I need another person to do that. So therapy's been great. My friends have been great. Even secretaries. Like, I've had secretaries before. Like, that's totally not their job to do this, but I've like had a meltdown on the phone with them or something, and they're like, okay, I got you. Like, I'll call you back. just keep your phone on. And they do. Within the next like hour or so, they call me back 3 or 4 times and like, okay, I scheduled that here, blah, blah, blah. We should really prioritize this because it's looking like this. And like, they just help me sort everything. And I'm like, those people are angels. I swear. Like, they're not even human beings. And I get off the phone and, because I'm talking like this once we're going. I'm like, okay, okay. When she's like, okay, we're going to get it. I'm like, okay, okay. You know what I mean? But then when we get off the phone, most of the time I just bawl my eyes out because I think, like, what would I do without these people? You know what I mean? So shout out to all the people that have helped me, and I'm finding the right therapist. Just, if you are neurodivergent, just realize that that's very complex for a lot of people, and all of us look so different that they're trying to understand, but they probably won't be there quite yet. It's probably going to be at least like another 2 or 3 years realistically. I hope it's a little bit sooner than that. We're all, collectively working on it. But yeah, if you don't find a good therapist, just keep trying them. And I tried 4 or 5 this year, and I finally found one. Last week was our first appointment, and I think this one, I don't want to speak too soon, but I'm very optimistic. And he actually knows the guy that I was just talking about, that was late diagnosed. So, and they're cool. So, and since me and him are so, I'm just very optimistic. So yeah, my faith in humanity has really been, like, even it was before my YouTube really blew up, which is why it meant so much, because it was kind of out there, the things that I was choosing to talk about before it kind of took off. But a couple of my cousins who were guys messaged me, and the women that are close to, there's on separate sides of my family, but the women that are close to both of them really have problems with me. So they both, I know for a fact, like went behind and just kind of like, hey, we're proud of you, we support you, which was really cool. That just pushed me to make those emotional neglect videos, because they said, like, I'm so sorry that your family, or the family, like our family, has treated you like that. I had no idea, blah, blah, blah. Because some of these people haven't seen my family in years and years and years, since like so and so's funeral when I was in middle school. You know what I mean? So they had no idea that all of this stuff was happening, but it was really cool to get that validation. And yeah, just hearing them say, I'm proud of you. Like, one of these cousins, I remember being little and looking up to him, because I didn't have older brothers, but I've always wanted an older brother. And yeah, so it just meant a lot, is all. And with the autism, this stuff has been very, very hard to talk about. And a lot of people say that, well, you don't look autistic and blah, blah, blah. But that's because I'm trying like so hard to be so cool, calm, and relaxed and just level headed. And I'm a chill girl. Nothing's bothering me, but I've got a lot going on up top most of the time. And autism causes you to have very black and white thinking, and there's also a lot of social trauma that is involved, and I really do think it's trauma. Like, people can call me over dramatic, but your fight or flight response is not supposed to get triggered when you merge, bestie. Okay, like, that is a trauma response. When you have when you want to just like contribute something to a group conversation, and your adrenaline spikes and your heart's like boom, 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 up in your heart, and like your hands get sweaty and everything. Yeah, that's not supposed to happen. You know what I mean? So there definitely is some like social trauma of just kind of always being, or most of the time, being rejected, especially friendships. For some reason, like, friendship rejection hurts worse for me than like romantic rejection. I don't know, but we really just need to work to calm that stuff down, but just recognize that, because autistic people are very sensitive in that way, yeah, we're gonna have these trauma responses, and social difficulties for a lifetime can cause trauma. It's not that like one or two of these things cause trauma when they first happen, but decades, you guys. For me personally, it's been at least 20 years, probably maybe even closer to like 25 years of just constant conflict with everyone and everything around me, unless I'm by myself. And that is so hard on your body and your brain. So moving on to some brighter stuff, though, to kind of wrap it all up, there have been so many little miracles lately, like along with the people and this podcast in general, and the Discord and all those miracles that are huge, huge miracles. There's been all these smaller, like micro, I don't even want to call them micro miracles because they're just miracles. Like, my phone screen was so busted, and I had, I think it was like job interviews or something where I didn't want to, I can't remember what it was. Someone was gonna have to see my phone screen on a regular basis. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I really needed a new screen protector. Mine was embarrassing. It was all kinds of cracked, like you could barely. So, and I didn't have any, and I've been broke for like months, and I was just going through boxes, and I should not have had one. I don't know why there was one in there. So that was a miracle. That happened with an entire bottle of medication that I really needed. And because sometimes after you move and switch medication or switch insurances and stuff like that, you can have gaps in medication. So like I found this whole bottle of medication that I needed. This laptop, I got just like a weird feeling one day. My best friend was staying here with me, and like we didn't talk about it or anything, but he was here. And one day I woke up and I was like, I should really get a new laptop. I wasn't working like virtually yet. I didn't even have the idea of YouTube yet. I never would have thought, even like a couple months ago, but I just woke up one day like, I need to get a new laptop. Because there was like sales going on. I forget what weekend it was, but I went to Best Buy and I got a payment plan that's like no APR and like everything. And it was a miracle that I got this, because I would not be able to be doing YouTube without this. There's no way. Just the storage stuff, the editing, there would be no way. And so that was a miracle. Let's see. Oh, yeah, my bed that first of all, I got a bed for free. I don't have time to get into that right now, but this year has been, and it's all just because of like freak accidents or like shipping errors or like weird things like that I'm like, something is out there. Something's out there, up there, down there, over there. I don't know, but something's got my back. And the bed that I ended up getting for free is just a mattress, and there's so many memes about not having a bed frame out there. But the tent that I've had for years is one of those tents that's like an elevated tent, because I'm from the Pacific Northwest. So it gets, really rainy. So it's elevated maybe about 2 feet, a little bit over 2 feet. And wouldn't you know it, the cot without the tent on it is the perfect size for the bed. And it's super sturdy. And my car was a miracle. Like, you always, whenever you buy those cars just as is, you take a huge gamble. It could, make it 10 miles down the road, and you really don't know. But right after I bought that car, I drove across the country with all my stuff, ping pong in the back seat, and I had family too, so don't worry, I didn't like take that huge risk but just the fact that it made it with no problems, and it still hasn't given me any problems, and that's real wood. So we'll do this for good measure. This one too. My grandpa actually gave me that table. It was his best friend's, actually, and this table we calculated, and it's like over, I think it's almost 200 years old. But yeah, so that's like an antique one, but that's kind of cool. There was like a plank of wood in the garage here that was the family that lived here before me, because I have a landlord right now, and they just left some stuff, and it was this beautiful plank of wood. It looked like the top of a desk. Not a single scratch on it. Beautiful wood. And yeah, I just put that on like a cardboard box, or like the dog bed too, and it was a beautiful desk. And then the dog bed table, the dog crate, the plastic thing that goes on the bottom of the dog crates, but for big dogs, that's a big piece of plastic, and it's really sturdy. So I flipped it upside down, and it's all shiny, and it looks like a shiny black tabletop, like low key. So I don't know, broke girl blessings, I guess. And there's the Discord. I think I'm gonna send out some little like holiday cards, even if you don't like celebrate Christmas. I think it's nice to get little holiday cards and send them out, or take them to your doctors or your therapist that you really like, just like an I appreciate you. it's okay if they don't have anything in it, because you have to remember, like, most people don't even give people cards these days. Everything's virtual. So if you give someone a handwritten note, that's going to be so special. So I'm going to do that soon if I can get an extra few dollars. I've gotten a pack of like little cards to send out at like Ross, TJ Maxx, Marshalls, things like that, marked down for like $4 or $5. So it's totally doable. Just make sure that the envelopes are big enough to go in the mail if you are going to be mailing them. And yeah, I want to throw in here real quick the membership for my channel. I'm still working out the logistics, so please be patient. Like, no one has to, pay for it yet or anything, because I don't really know how it works. But I'm going to figure it out. I just got monetized. And yeah, me and my partner are on a break, but why not? Why not give yourself a nice little ring to look down? You know how when you just, like this one, I bought both of these, but the top one, this one is like a little morganite bow, and that one I actually traded a social media account for, interestingly enough, and didn't pay for very much of it at all, because this jewelry maker, this was a few years ago. I was in a much different different financial situation, and I bought this for myself for my birthday. And again, it wasn't very expensive, but this jewelry maker, I noticed he had like only maybe like 100 followers or something on Instagram, somewhere around there. And I had my old Instagram account from like my teen years that was just popping. Like, I think I used to have 30K when I dropped off when I was about like 18, and it kind of went down, and I like sold that account to him in my early 20s. So I think it was like at 25K or something. But so I like, and no one, it had been kind of dormant for so long. I don't know if anybody knew like whose account it was. So I kind of just like flipped it and got a ring out of it. And then the little one under here is just like the cheap little promise ring that I got. And I'm still going to wear that. So if anyone sees these rocks on my finger, look how darling those are. Isn't that darling? But yeah, so I'm very, very pleased with those. I think it looks very classy. Get yourself a ring, girl. But yeah, that concludes the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Ping Pong says, thanks for all the subscribers, because they're gonna buy you some bones, girl. See ya.